I will never forget that Tuesday evening. 8 years of marriage and it ended with a suitcase by the door. I walked into our home after a long day at the office and immediately sensed something was wrong. The atmosphere felt different, charged with an unfamiliar tension. Then I saw them 3 suitcases and a duffel bag neatly arranged in the entryway. Sophia appeared from our bedroom face, expressionless, keys in hand. "Baldwin, I am moving out tonight. Do not try to stop me." The words hung in the air between us like smoke. Something inside me broke, but my voice remained steady as I replied, "I will not stop you." I watched the woman I had built a life with walk out our front door without looking back. Before I tell you what happened next, I would love to know where you are watching from. Drop it in the comments below. If you have ever had to make a difficult decision when someone chose to walk away from you, hit that like button and subscribe to hear the full story of how I rebuilt my life after betrayal. To understand why her departure blindsided me so completely, you need to know our story from the beginning. I met Sophia 10 years ago at a classical music concert in downtown Seattle. I was there supporting a college friend who played cello in the orchestra. During intermission, I found myself standing next to a woman with captivating hazel eyes and a warm laugh that seemed to light up the crowded lobby. We started talking about Vivaldi, and somehow ended up discussing our favorite breakfast foods. By the end of the night, I had her number and a first date planned for that weekend. Our romance progressed with the comfortable certainty of something that just feels right. Sophia taught 3rd grade at an elementary school and brought the same enthusiasm and creativity to our relationship that she showed her students. I worked as an accountant at a financial firm which suited my analytical nature. Despite our different personalities, we balanced each other perfectly. She brought spontaneity to my structured life, and I provided stability that she claimed to value. 2 years after meeting, we married in a small ceremony surrounded by close friends and family. With our combined savings and help from my parents, we purchased a charming 3-bedroom craftsman-style house in a quiet neighborhood. Those first few years were everything I had dreamed married life could be. We traveled to Europe, visiting Italy and France. We hosted dinner parties, joined a local wine tasting club, and spent weekends fixing up our home. We talked about having children, planning to start trying after Sophia completed her master's degree in education. The 5th year of our marriage marked a subtle but noticeable shift. Sophia changed her appearance dramatically, cutting her long dark hair into a stylish bob and replacing her casual wardrobe with more expensive, fashionable clothes. She began attending yoga classes 4 times a week, with an instructor named Ryan, often returning home later than the scheduled class time. When I mentioned this, she dismissed my concerns as controlling behavior. Family gatherings, once a highlight of our month, became sources of tension. Sophia would find excuses to avoid dinners with my parents or my sister's family events. "Your family expects too much from me," she would say. "They always make me feel like I am not good enough." Despite my attempts to understand her perspective, the distance between us and my family continued to grow. Our financial disagreements started small but escalated quickly. I had always been careful with money, preferring to save for our future and potential children. Sophia began making increasingly expensive purchases: designer clothing, high-end electronics, weekend getaways, with her new yoga friends that somehow never included me. When I suggested creating a budget together, she accused me of treating her like a child. The real shock came when I discovered a credit card statement showing over $15,000 in debt that Sophia had accumulated without my knowledge. The purchases included jewelry, spa treatments, and restaurants I had never heard of. When confronted, she broke down crying, promising to be more responsible. I believed her, worked out a payment plan, and thought we had moved past the issue. Meanwhile, our conversations about starting a family hit roadblock after roadblock. First, Sophia wanted to wait until she finished her master's program. Then she wanted to establish herself in a new teaching position. Next came her desire to travel more before being tied down by children. Each time I brought up the subject, her reasons for delay grew more elaborate and her emotional reactions more intense. By year 7, I was concerned enough to suggest marriage counseling. "There is nothing wrong with our marriage that you controlling every aspect of my life would not fix," she snapped. Still, I persisted, even making an appointment with a highly recommended therapist. Sophia agreed to attend, then called to cancel an hour before our scheduled time. "I am not going to pay someone to tell me how to live my life," she texted. "If you cannot accept me as I am, that is your problem." Despite the growing disconnect, I continued to believe we could work through our issues. I loved Sophia and was committed to our marriage. I blamed work stress, her difficult school year, external pressures, anything, but the possibility that she no longer wanted the life we had built together. I was living in denial, and it took a suitcase by the door to finally make me see the truth. The day everything changed started like any other Tuesday. I left for work at 7:30 in the morning, kissing Sophia goodbye as she prepared for her school day. She seemed distracted, but no more than usual lately. We had plans to try a new Italian restaurant that weekend, and she reminded me to make reservations. Nothing indicated it would be the last normal interaction of our marriage. I came home later than usual that evening around 7 after a stressful meeting with clients. The moment I stepped through the front door, I knew something was fundamentally wrong. The house felt different, emptier somehow. That is when I saw the luggage arranged neatly by the door, 2 large suitcases, a smaller overnight bag, and her favorite duffel from our honeymoon trip to Bali. Before I could process what this meant, Sophia emerged from our bedroom. She looked different, determined. Her makeup was perfect, hair freshly styled, wearing an outfit I had never seen before. She held our spare car keys in one hand and her phone in the other. "Baldwin, I am moving out tonight. Do not try to stop me." Her voice was flat, rehearsed. In that moment, a strange calm washed over me. Despite the shock and pain blooming in my chest, my mind became remarkably clear. 8 years together, and this was how she chose to end it. No discussion, no warning, just a unilateral decision presented as a fait accompli. Why was all I could manage to ask. Sophia sighed as though my question was an inconvenience. "I feel suffocated. I have for a long time. This relationship is holding me back from who I am supposed to be, and you could not talk to me about this. We could not try to work through it together. There is nothing to work through. I have made my decision." She glanced at her watch. "I need to go now." No tears, no emotion, just the practical logistics of abandonment. I stood there trying to reconcile this stranger with the woman who had promised to share her life with me. In that moment, I made my own decision. "I will not stop you," I said, my voice steadier than I felt inside. "If this is what you want, I respect your choice." She seemed startled by my response, perhaps expecting pleading or anger. For a brief moment, uncertainty flickered across her face, but it quickly hardened back into resolve. Without another word, she picked up her smallest bag and walked to the door. I made no move to help with the other luggage. "I will come back for the rest of my things later," she said, pausing at the threshold. "Text me first," I replied. And then she was gone, the door closing behind her with a quiet click that somehow felt louder than a slam would have. I stood in the entryway for several minutes, staring at the remaining bags, feeling the weight of her absence already settling over the house. 8 years ending not with a fight or a conversation, but with a simple statement and the sound of a door closing. Part of me wanted to run after her to demand a proper explanation, to fight for what we had, but a stronger, more rational part knew that a relationship cannot survive when only one person wants to save it. Eventually, I moved from the entryway into our home office. Something compelled me to check our shared filing cabinet, where we kept important documents. My suspicion was confirmed. The drawer was slightly ajar, papers disorganized. Our financial documents, insurance policies, property deeds, and investment information had clearly been rifled through. A cold feeling settled in my stomach as I realized this departure had been planned, possibly for some time. This was not an impulsive decision made in the heat of emotion. This was calculated. That realization changed everything. If Sophia had approached me honestly about her unhappiness, I would have done anything to repair our relationship. But this calculated exit, combined with the disturbed financial documents, suggested something more concerning than mere dissatisfaction. It suggested I needed to protect myself, and quickly. With my accountant's mind kicking into high gear, I did not waste time on tears or regrets. Instead, I created an action plan. First, I called my friend Marcus, who happened to be a family law attorney. Despite the late hour, he picked up on the third ring. "Baldwin, everything okay? You never call this late." Sophia just left me, packed her bags, and moved out. No warning. A pause on the line. "I am sorry to hear that. Are you all right?" "Not really, but I need to be smart right now." She went through our financial documents before leaving. "I need to know what steps to take immediately." Marcus shifted into professional mode, his voice becoming more measured. "First thing tomorrow morning, you need to secure your finances. Any joint accounts should be addressed immediately. Not emptied, that could look vindictive to a judge, but protected. You might want to transfer half the funds to a new individual account. Document everything. First, take screenshots of current balances. After 20 minutes of practical advice, I thanked him and agreed to meet at his office the following afternoon. Next, I checked our joint checking and savings accounts online. My heart sank when I saw a withdrawal of $5,000 made that morning right after I had left for work. This confirmed my suspicions. Sophia had been planning this exit strategy, systematically preparing while maintaining the illusion of normalcy. I spent the rest of the evening documenting our current financial state, taking screenshots of account balances, creating spreadsheets of assets, and making notes about recent unusual spending patterns. By midnight, I had a comprehensive picture of our financial situation and a clear plan for the morning. After a restless night, I visited my bank as soon as it opened at 9. I explained the situation to the manager, a sympathetic woman named Janet, who helped me open new individual accounts. I transferred exactly half of the remaining funds from our joint accounts, leaving Sophia's portion untouched. Next, I called all our credit card companies and canceled the joint cards, requesting new ones in my name only. The representatives asked few questions. Apparently, these calls were common. By noon, I had contacted our insurance company, investment broker, and retirement fund administrators to update my information and remove Sophia as an authorized user where legally permitted. Each call was painful, a formal dismantling of the life we had built together, but necessary to protect my future. That afternoon, with Marcus's legal blessing, I called a locksmith to change the locks on the house. Since we owned the property jointly, both of us had legal rights to access it. However, given Sophia's unannounced departure and the disturbed financial documents, Marcus advised that changing the locks was reasonable to protect the remaining assets inside. If she complains, we will work out scheduled times for her to collect belongings, he explained. The locksmith arrived promptly at 3, a friendly older man who asked no questions as he replaced our locks and provided new keys. While he worked, I installed a video doorbell system I had purchased that morning, providing security and documentation of who came to the house during my absence. With the immediate security concerns addressed, I turned my attention to understanding what had really happened. Sophia had left her laptop at home, perhaps intending to collect it later. I hesitated only briefly before opening it. Her password had always been the same, her childhood cat's name followed by her birth year. Sure enough, it still worked. What I found shattered any lingering hopes of reconciliation. Dozens of messages between Sophia and Ryan, her yoga instructor, dating back 6 months. The exchanges left no doubt about the nature of their relationship, filled with intimate details and plans for their future together. Most devastating were the recent messages outlining their strategy. Ryan: how much can you get from the accounts before he notices Sophia? Probably around 5 kelvins without raising flags. He rarely checks day-to-day transactions. Ryan: perfect. Once you are out, we can figure out the rest. The more you secure now, the better position you will be in. There were more messages discussing their plans after Sophia left me, including their intention to move to San Diego together once they had secured enough resources. My chest tightened as I read Ryan, encouraging Sophia to get whatever you can before leaving. Further investigation revealed receipts for expensive gifts Sophia had purchased for Ryan, using our joint credit card, $1,000 watch designer clothing, and reservations for a luxury hotel in wine country for the coming weekend. She had been spending our money on her affair partner, while I worked overtime to secure our financial future. With each discovery, my pain transformed into something else: clarity. This was not about Sophia feeling suffocated or needing to find herself. This was about opportunity and extraction. I closed the laptop, took photographs of the screen showing the most incriminating messages, and emailed them to myself as evidence. Then I shut down the computer and placed it on the kitchen counter, where she would easily find it when she returned for her things. The fallout began the next morning. A text message from Sophia: I need to get the rest of my clothes and my personal items. I will come by at noon. I replied simply, I am not available then. Tomorrow evening would work. I did not mention the changed locks. Her response was immediate and annoyed. I should not need your permission to get my own things. Given the circumstances, it would be better if we arrange a specific time. Tomorrow at 6 works for me. She did not respond, but my phone began ringing repeatedly with her calls. I did not answer. Later that afternoon, I received an alert from our credit card company about a declined transaction. Sophia had attempted to use our joint card, now canceled, at a high-end department store for a purchase of over $800. Within minutes, my phone exploded with angry text messages. Why are the cards not working? Did you cancel your credit cards? You cannot do this. I need that money. I waited several hours before responding with a single factual message. Following legal advice, I have secured our shared assets pending formal separation arrangements. Your portion remains untouched in our joint accounts. Please contact me to arrange a time to collect your belongings. That evening, my video doorbell captured Sophia arriving at the house, attempting her key in the new locks, then pounding on the door when it failed to work. She rang the bell multiple times before finally giving up and leaving, visibly frustrated. I watched the footage with a strange detachment, as though observing a stranger rather than the woman I had loved for a decade. The next morning, Marcus sent Sophia a formal email outlining the initial steps of our separation. The tone was professional and non-antagonistic, explaining that half of our joint assets remained available to her and offering to arrange mediation for property division. He emphasized my willingness to proceed fairly but firmly, with proper legal protections in place. 3 days after her departure, I received a call from a number I did not recognize. Against my better judgment, I answered. Baldwin. It is Julia, Sophia's best friend since college. I think you and Sophia need to talk. We communicated through my attorney yesterday, I replied evenly. She is not doing well. Ryan turned out to be a complete jerk. He basically dropped her when he realized she did not have access to as much money as she thought. She has been sleeping on my couch, crying constantly. Julia paused. She made a terrible mistake and knows it. I appreciate you calling Julia, but this is between Sophia and me. She wants to come home. She says she will do whatever it takes, counseling, transparency with finances, anything. She says she was confused and made the worst mistake of her life. I took a deep breath, considering my response carefully. Please tell Sophia she can email me directly if she has something to say. But Julia, you should know that I am aware of their plans, their messages, the money she took, and the gifts she bought him with our joint funds. This was not confusion. This was calculation. Silence on the other end. Finally, Julia spoke, her voice smaller. I did not know about all that. I am sorry, Baldwin. Later that day, I received a lengthy email from Sophia. She confessed to the affair with Ryan, claiming it had been a terrible mistake born from feeling unappreciated and restless in our marriage. She wrote about regretting her actions, realizing what she had thrown away, and begging for a chance to talk in person. The email ended with, I know I do not deserve forgiveness, but I am asking for a conversation. Please. After careful consideration, I agreed to meet at a coffee shop near my office the following day. A public location seemed wisest for what would inevitably be an emotional conversation. Sophia arrived looking nothing like the confident woman who had walked out of our home. Her hair was pulled back carelessly, dark circles under her eyes, wearing jeans and a sweatshirt rather than her recently preferred designer clothes. She broke into tears the moment she saw me, causing several patrons to glance our way. Thank you for meeting me, she began once seated. I do not even know where to start. Why not try the truth, the complete truth this time? Her eyes dropped to her untouched coffee. I got caught up in something that was not real. Ryan made me feel special, desired. He talked about adventures and possibilities, and I started believing I was missing out on life. And the plan to take our money, was that his idea or yours? She flinched. He suggested I should secure my future. It started small, just making sure I had enough to support myself. Then it became more calculating. I am so ashamed, Baldwin. I was not thinking clearly. Where is Ryan now? Gone. Her voice cracked. Once he realized I could not access the money, he lost interest pretty quickly. Said he needed space to think. She attempted a bitter laugh that came out more like a sob. Turns out I was just a potential meal ticket. I watched her cry, feeling strangely detached. The woman across from me had shared my bed, my home, my life for 8 years, yet now seemed like a stranger. I want to come home, she whispered. I will do anything. Counseling, complete transparency with finances, whatever you need. I made the biggest mistake of my life, and I am begging you for another chance. I had rehearsed this moment, mentally prepared my response carefully. Sophia, I want you to understand something. When you left, you did not just leave our home. You left our marriage, our trust, and the respect we owed each other. You made a series of deliberate choices, not just with Ryan, but with our shared resources and future." She nodded, wiping tears. "I know, and I am so sorry. I believe you are sorry now. But I deserve better than being someone's backup plan when their first choice falls through." "You are not a backup plan," she protested. "You are my husband, my partner. I made a terrible mistake." "A mistake is forgetting an anniversary or saying something hurtful in anger. What you did was a campaign of deception. You planned it, executed it, and would have continued if it had worked out as you hoped." Her shoulders slumped as the truth of my words sank in. "What are you saying?" "I am saying that I will proceed with the divorce as fairly and respectfully as possible. You will get your legal share of our assets. I will not be vindictive or try to punish you, but I will not be your safety net either. You are just giving up." After 8 years, the irony of her question was not lost on me. "No, Sophia, I am not giving up. I am choosing myself, my well-being, and my future. You gave up when you packed those bags." I stood to leave feeling lighter than I had in years. "My attorney will be in touch about next steps. I wish you well, truly. But our marriage is over." As I walked away, I heard her call my name once more, her voice breaking. I did not turn back. Returning to an empty house each night was the hardest adjustment. The silence seemed to echo with memories, questions, and second guesses. For the first few weeks, I would catch myself starting to call out when I came home, or turning to share a thought with someone who was no longer there. Sleep became elusive, my mind replaying our relationship, searching for signs. I had missed words I should have said differently. To combat the isolation, I joined a support group for people going through divorce. Initially skeptical, I found unexpected comfort in the shared experiences of others. Each Tuesday night, seated in a circle of folding chairs in a community center basement, I listened to stories of betrayal, recovery, and rebuilding. Some had experienced far worse than I had, others were still raw with fresh pain. Gradually, I began to share my own story, finding that putting it into words helped process the emotions I had been suppressing. Gary, a 62-year-old high school teacher whose wife had left him after 30 years of marriage, became something of a mentor to me. "The mistake most people make," he told me during a coffee after one session, "is thinking they need to rush past the grief. You lost something important. Honor that loss. Feel it fully. Then, when you are ready, start building something new." Taking his advice, I allowed myself designated times to grieve 20 minutes each evening, to look at old photos, remember good times, and acknowledge the pain of betrayal. Once the timer went off, I would deliberately shift to constructive activities. This structured approach to emotional processing suited my analytical nature and prevented the grief from consuming me entirely. Physical transformation became another outlet. I joined a local gym and began working out regularly, finding that physical exertion helped quiet my restless mind. 3 months into my new routine, I had lost 15 pounds, gained noticeable muscle definition, and was sleeping better than I had in years. The physical changes reflected an inner strengthening as well, a growing confidence in my ability to rebuild my life. Our home, once filled with Sophia's decorative touches, gradually transformed to reflect my preferences. I repainted the bedroom in calming blue tones, replacing the bohemian decor Sophia had insisted upon with clean, minimalist furnishings. The second bedroom, previously used mainly for storage, became my music room, housing the acoustic guitar I had played in college, but abandoned when Sophia complained about the noise. Each change to the physical space represented a reclaiming of my identity, separate from the couple I had been for so long. Professionally, I channeled my energy into projects that had previously taken back seat to my focus on our troubled marriage. 6 months after Sophia's departure, I received a promotion to senior financial analyst, along with a substantial salary increase. The additional income allowed me to accelerate payments on the mortgage, now solely in my name, after Sophia agreed to a buyout of her equity as part of our divorce settlement. Throughout this period, I maintained minimal contact with Sophia, interacting only through our attorneys. The divorce proceedings progressed more smoothly than anticipated, perhaps because she carried a lingering guilt that made her less inclined to contest my proposed division of assets. When we finally signed the papers, 9 months after her departure, the woman sitting across the conference table was a stranger to me, someone from a previous chapter of my life that now felt distant and unreal. Friends and family expressed concern about my apparent detachment, worried that I was suppressing emotions that would eventually overwhelm me. What they failed to understand was that my calm wasn't denial but acceptance. The night Sophia left, something fundamental had shifted in me. Her betrayal, painful as it was, had freed me from trying to save a relationship that had been broken long before she packed her bags. 1 year after that fateful Tuesday evening, I sold our Craftsman house, using my portion of the proceeds to purchase a modern apartment closer to my office. The new space had no echoes of my previous life, no memories lurking in corners or embedded in walls. It represented exactly what I had become: independent, self-sufficient, and forward-looking. As for Sophia, I heard through mutual friends that she had moved to Portland, struggling to rebuild her teaching career after the gap in her employment history. Ryan had indeed disappeared from her life, almost immediately after realizing there would be no financial windfall. She had reached out several more times in the early months, each attempt met with polite but firm boundaries from me. Eventually, the messages stopped. In an unexpected turn of events, I met Amanda at a book club hosted by a colleague. Intelligent, straightforward, and refreshingly honest, she approached relationships with the same clarity I had discovered through my ordeal. Our connection developed slowly, built on mutual respect and open communication about expectations and boundaries. When I finally shared the full story of my marriage, her response was simple: "Thank you for trusting me with that. It sounds like you learned a lot about what you need in a relationship." The most valuable lesson from my experience was recognizing that self-respect must be the foundation of any healthy relationship. By refusing to be Sophia's backup plan, I had affirmed my own worth. By methodically rebuilding my life rather than collapsing into bitterness, I had discovered resilience I never knew I possessed. Sometimes the most painful goodbye becomes your most powerful hello to the person you were always meant to be. What difficult ending in your life became your pathway to something better? Share your story in the comments below. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more stories about finding strength through life's challenges. And if you know someone who might need to hear this message, share this video with them. Thank you for listening to my journey. And remember, your worth is not determined by those who fail to value you, but by your courage to value yourself when it matters most.